don't care when no one can reach
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't care at all.
That's just, for me, it's like, oh, I got an unexpected vacation. How did that happen?
Yeah, I do feel unnerved when I don't have my phone, but...
All right, we're on here. We're on, and recording's begun. So...
Were we already talking about just now? What were we just laughing about right now?
Having your phone off and not missing the fact that no one can get a hold of you.
I don't want to be reached. Do you remember when people used to get really upset about long-distance phone calls?
Yes. Expensive.
That's how old we are.
So expensive.
So I used to live in Mima's house. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Other people don't, but you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
So Mima woke me up one time, and I was a new mom, and I was very tired.
Oh.
And wanting to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And she came down the stairs. Bop, 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 bop. Knock, 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 right? And I crack an eye open. I'm like, what? Which is, unkind.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's on the phone. Okay. It's long distance. This was in probably 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So she was still in that. They're calling long distance, right?
Okay. Oh.
I didn't even have a cell phone then.
Yeah.
I didn't even own a cell phone yet.
All right.
I never owned a cell phone until my little one spent the night at someone else's house.
Mm.
That was when I first got a cell phone. So that was probably...
So you can keep track?
Yeah, by like 2004.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to be available
Mm-hmm.
when my child was not with me.
Yeah. When did that happen in the generations? Because my parents didn't care where I was.
No.
In the 80s.
No, I remember Mom saying, take the dog. Right? We'd be headed out the door. Where are you? She wouldn't say where you're going.
Right. No, never.
Take the dog, she would say. We'd take the dog. That was it.
Yeah. My parents, they had no idea where I was. Ever.
How did we survive?
The only time they knew where I was when we built this Ewok village in my backyard. At the end of our property, it wasn't even our property. It was trees that divided our property from our neighbor's property. And we made these trees leaned. We connected them with bridges and made our little Ewok village back there. And that's the only time they knew we were somewhere.
That's hilarious.
Otherwise, they'd be like, oh, they were across town or they were...
Yeah, we played in the woods. We had our own boulders. We would claim this was my big boulder. And it was this is my room or this is my boat, something like that.
Yep.
And we would go to this big quarry, this rock quarry.
Oh, cool.
And they would get water in the bottom and there was a rock out in the middle. And that was the boat. Right. And we'd go on adventures.
Okay, got it,
right?
got it. Yeah,
Fun,
yeah.
Right?
No,
yeah.
Imagination was used
That's all we had.
very often. I mean, everything we had in our backyard, every little corner of the house was a different land.
Did you know were you in poverty? We were in poverty.
Oh, yeah, we were.
Did you know?
No,
I didn't know.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't know that we had food insecurity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't. Now I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hi, Soubanh.
Hi, Emily.
I'm excited to be sitting down with you.
Me too. Yeah.
I just thought it would be a nice way to intro, just to chat and laugh like we just were a minute ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of relationship we have anyways.
Yeah.
So it's good to kind of show that.
Speaking of relationships.
Yes.
I wrote a book last year.
Did you?
I wrote a book and published it last year.
Right.
And it's called Relationships Are Everything.
Uh-huh.
This Was Not My Idea.
Oh.
That's the title.
Really?
Yeah, relationships are everything.
And
this was not my idea. Yeah, because it's not, I don't want you to think I came up with this idea. This is not because I'm so smart. I don't think any better than anybody else does.
Well, I think you made it your own.
Definitely.
So I think that's what the distinction is.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that book is a collection of other people's research.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my summaries and what it makes me think about when I study their research.
It's your takeaway.
Yeah, it's my takeaways. So if there was a book that you were really interested in learning about, you're interested in learning about investment properties, say, and there was some book that you didn't have time to read, I could read it for you and summarize it and hand it to you. That's the kind of work some of the work that I do in Elemental Consulting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So the book works in that part of my work, but it's also a good tool if you want to have some lasting, meaningful change in your life.
Elemental consulting.
Yeah.
And you read books, and then you let people know what was the contents.
Sure, I bring training or whatever,
Okay.
education.
Okay.
I present education, and sometimes it's mostly based in what I am interested in.
Okay.
But maybe it's what you and your team are interested in. So you bring me in to learn and then teach you about that.
Oh, well, I think it would be for me anyways, it would be much more engaging and personal when it's at least something I'm interested in.
For sure.
But it does leave room for growth if you're learning something else that someone wants to know about.
Without growth.
Well,
just sitting still.
I think there's an opportunity for growth every day. So talking about growth, okay? So
Yeah.
I've started making these Facebook reels, and I have this.
I hate it. I hate it.
I have this software that puts in words. So
Okay.
every word that I speak, it puts the words in for
captions.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Captionator.
Okay.
Captionator. Captionator is the software that was introduced.
Captionator.
And it works as a plugin for Final Cut Pro, and that's what I use. And now I'm like, oh my goodness, I got this new skill now that
now you can crank them out.
Well, before you would have to type in the titles yourself manually.
Yeah. And they have to be synced up.
Yes, have to sync it up. This Captionator syncs it up mostly for you.
Nice.
The only thing I need to go back and fix is the spelling of my name most of the time.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because my
you
name is wrong.
I'm pretty sure I spell your name wrong all the time.
Yeah.
But my phone knows the right way.
Oh, good. Your phone is
Because from the contact list.
Okay,
right?
it's a smart phone though. That's why.
It's limited by its operator, don't you think? I want to ask you some questions.
Sure, okay.
So I'm writing my second book. And the second book is I'm Untraditional. Okay. And this book is a collection of conversations. So this is my research.
Okay.
And I'm sitting down with people and asking a few of the same questions over and over again. And some extra ones as we go along because I'm developing new ideas. Oh, my knuckles. You can hear it on the... Nice. Okay. We're loose. We're loose now. So this is what the book is made of, is me collecting information through talking to people, because the value comes, or it seems to be, when two people say, oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I get that, right?
Yeah. You can relate. And
it's magic.
Yeah, it is magic. You feel, you share a vibration of sorts.
Something happens.
I said vibration because we have a good vibes, neon
only.
sign. Yeah.
I like it. It looks like it gives off good selfie light.
It does.
Right? It's just like a diffuse white light. It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice, diffuse, nice, soft.
Oh, we should take a picture right now while we're doing this. Really
okay,
quick.
I'm sorry.
We're recording. It's meta.
This is kind of horrible because you and I are both...
We're both what?
We bounce.
No, it's going to be fun. Don't worry. Okay. They're going to love it. All right, questions.
All right, so... Yeah, no, when you really connect, I think it's almost like a spiritual moment where you connect more than just with words.
Can I ask you why you use that word spiritual? Can you...
Spiritual? For me, anything beyond, I think, my intelligence, I put it in the realm of spiritual. Just because I know I'm not smart enough to describe exactly what it is I feel that's going on at that moment.
It lends a feeling of importance to it.
It does
too, right?
Yeah,
like it's a little more significant than just a regular moment.
It's greater than me.
Okay, I like that.
That's why I use that term.
I interrupted you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thanks.
No.
So speaking of connections and relationships. I want to ask you, where do you see sacrifice in everyday life? This is a multi-part question.
Okay.
Where do you see sacrifice in everyday life? How do you define it in everyday life compared to like the way we talk about it when we're with a church community might be a different tone and definition than when we're just sitting down talking about everyday life.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you define it? Where do you see it in everyday life? And I
within myself or others?
However.
Okay.
Right? I just want to hear your experience with it. And this comes from me feeling like I could do better at this. That's what started me thinking about this stuff. And, why does it matter through terms of relationship building? So you chat now. You talk.
Well, I think when it comes to sacrifice, I think sacrifice is different today than it was in my parents' day.
Interesting.
I see the sacrifice. I mean, I see a parallel, but I think I see more of a sacrifice when I look back at some of the things my parents did to help us survive and get through life and things like that. But I think part of it is because I sort of ignore myself.
Oh,
and the sacrifices that I make.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you don't count your sacrifices
Right.
as sacrifices. So when you
Yeah.
think about your parents' sacrifice, it
Yeah.
feels bigger.
Yeah.
It was a more meaningful sacrifice
Yeah.
because you would never compare your value with your parents' value.
Yeah. For some reason, I feel like,
You hold them to high esteem.
I mean, we escaped communism. We snuck out of the country, crossed the Mekong River, lived in a refugee camp, came to America. We all had to learn English, and they just were like in a brand new world, brand new language, brand new culture, and they have to find a way to have their kids succeed, whether they succeed or not. It really didn't seem like it mattered.
They weren't focused on that at all.
Yeah, it didn't seem to matter to them. But seeing, if their kids succeeded, seemed to mean more.
Wow.
Or more of a focus for them than. So I can't.
Interesting.
I mean, now that I say that, I mean, I feel.
Say more.
I feel the same as the sacrifices I make. For my daughter
Are also focused on her success in the future.
Yeah,
the long
definitely.
game.
Yeah, the long game, and my success is like it's almost like a stepping stone for her success.
Right, sort of tertiary to the goal, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what my parents felt too. I mean, I
bet.
Even though they were starting out and they didn't know the language, they didn't know anything, and the culture was different, so they gravitated towards people that shared the same culture, which was a bit of a mistake sometimes because you can't grow if you're stuck with the same group of people.
Yeah.
And but they were entrepreneurs, even though they were like in poverty.
And you happen to know that's not for everyone.
No.
Being an entrepreneur is not for everyone.
No, it takes a different mindset.
And we're not talking about content creator entrepreneurship so much as we're talking about having a business, having a family that relies on your business and your own sweat of your brow. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was, I mean, I don't want to definitely downplay the fact that people do rely on a living on social media.
For sure.
Making
But
that
we're
kind
just
of
talking
content.
about a little,
Like-
trying to paint a picture.
Like a mom and pop type of thing.
Right.
Like I created a photography business. I created a selfie museum in Brewer in the middle of nowhere for some people. They're like, hey, why is it way up there?
Yeah.
But my parents, they went to livestock auctions, processed the animals, and sold it to Asian markets down in Massachusetts.
Wow.
So that's how they made more income for the family, because at one time we had 12 people living in a household in Bangor, Maine, and we had one bathroom.
It sounds impossible to me. It sounds impossible to me.
And we felt like we were living in luxury.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because we were in our own home.
Yeah. Right. I remember when we first moved to Bangor and you flip the switch and the lights turned on and you push the little thing on the toilet and the water would go down, the stuff would go down and disappear.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And you do like this and water just came out of the faucet.
Yeah. And you were warm.
Yeah.
You had heat.
Warm. Remember I said a few minutes ago the cold triggers all this emotional garbage for me.
It does for me too.
Our wood stove was primary heat source for a long
goodness.
time. A special kind of trauma.
Yeah. No, I definitely see their sacrifice as a higher, because it just felt like it was, it was all for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's for my benefit. And of course, I didn't see it at the time. At the time, I was just like,
of course.
You're a kid.
Yeah.
You're a kid. You're focused on other things.
Kids are supposed to be narcissistic by nature. They're self-centered. That's what they are.
But they did teach, culturally speaking, they did teach us to serve the elders.
Yeah.
of the home, and taught us self-sacrifice back then and obedience. And
there's sacrifice there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, for sure.
There's sacrifice there. Like, let's go to driving, okay? Like the speed limit.
Yeah.
There's some sacrifice in being obedient to the speed limit sometimes, right?
Oh, boy.
Sometimes there's some sacrifice there, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we blatantly ignore it.
Yeah.
Maybe most of the time.
No.
There's accepted behavior around driving speed limit cultures. So everyday life, when I ask you, how do you define sacrifice in everyday life? Thinking about your parents and the scale that feels like relative to today's everyday, right?
Yeah.
How do we translate that to today? Where do you see everyday sacrifice?
Well, I think I can only speak really about my personal experience, because it's hard for me to say overall how people are sacrificing themselves. I guess, generally speaking, this could apply to the masses, is sacrifice of time.
Yeah.
Time sacrifice, I think, is huge, because there's so many opportunities that it's just so easy to take you away from family and people that mean things to you. And family could be expanded, right?
Sure, right.
It's not just...
Use the word family as a space holder for the thing that you put value on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's a sacrifice to do anything that you can't control the time.
Yeah.
And that's a sacrifice. Anything at all, really, that you can't control in some way is a bit of a sacrifice. But some of these sacrifices, though, I believe it's a sacrifice that it gives more value to those things when you actually do have the time, where you don't have to sacrifice your time away from it.
So let me ask you about defining it. Like, you use the word value, right? So when maybe that's the measure in our own head. Like, so this is really subjective and relative, which is what gave you the hesitation to like point at someone else's sacrifice, right? Like, feels a little, but you might see somebody like really make an effort to help someone, and you observe it, and you're like, oh, that was a meaningful time, right? And then somehow that translates, and you have faith in humanity again, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
We see some of that.
Right.
Sometimes people use that for their content creation, right? And sometimes that's really inspiring, and sometimes it's a little, gag me.
Yeah.
Right? Are we focused on service, or are we focused on getting plays? So how do we define sacrifice in terms of everyday life? Like, you mentioned time, and you mentioned value.
Right. How do I define time? I mean, the sacrifice. Yeah.
If you had to, like, if you were talking to somebody from another planet, and they were trying to understand this word sacrifice that we throw around.
I was afraid you would ask that question, because that's always a hard one to
right?
answer.
How would you talk about it to someone who really doesn't understand it?
Like, how can you explain someone what salt tastes like?
Right, if they've never had sweet.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's so important for me to point out the fact that when we don't have to sacrifice, that sacrifice means something.
I got you.
Because you have an end goal, and when you can reach that goal with your sacrifice, so you kind of, it's almost like a value system where you trade one to receive the other. Yep. So you sacrifice today the time to create content for tomorrow. Right. Right. Because
I get so annoyed about this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's the first thing I'm talking about every time we see each other. I'm so annoyed about having to make content.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, do I make content now to be happy now?
Right.
No.
Right.
It can be, I guess, if you can do it in the spirit and attitude of, wow, this is a fun process.
And sometimes having sacrifice be a part of it gives a sense of purpose, and then we feel better, right? Right. So you can try to...
Yeah, you understand that it is a sacrifice, and there is an end goal for creating content or creating, when you're working and you're going through processing like files for photos and stuff like that, or video, you're making video, or whether people are building something with their time, it's sacrificing that time because they know that they're going to get paid.
Sure, right.
For it.
Somehow, one way or
Somehow,
another. Right? Yeah, you get
whether
a return.
It's something in return,
Sure.
whether it's money or whether it's a good reflection of who you are as a person, that you are living up to your promise.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
you make it's so me. So I have to say, I don't want to jump.
It's okay. Go
I
ahead.
don't want
Go
to
ahead.
jump over to one of the topics you
Yeah.
were talking about, but to me, it really shows. I really want to follow through with what I say, because that, to me, my word has value.
Okay.
And it's so lacking sometimes in today's society.
For yourself, in general, what do you mean it's so lacking? You don't see it in other places a lot?
It's hard to see in others.
Like, I came in the door today and you said, oh, someone who shows, right? Someone who shows up on time, right? And like, that's the same thing I'll say too. Jason, the dog clients come over, right? We're like, oh, look at this. Somebody who actually respects a calendar.
It's
how nice.
To me, it's such a disrespectful.
Yeah.
Without calling ahead and saying, hey, I'm held up.
Yeah.
It's very simple to do. And when you don't show up on time or early, when I'm late, when I'm on time, I'm late.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I go, and people don't understand that. To me, I'm showing respect for that client. I'm showing respect for me, being true to my word.
Yep.
And I'm showing respect for my vocation. You know, I value what I do. I want to be the best at what I do.
Yeah.
So I show up when I'm supposed to show up. Yeah. So, and I don't always see it in some of the people I engage with.
In day-to-day life. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
not just in the work that we do. It's not, we're not just talking about appointments that we make and stuff. We're talking about being at Bagel Central and seeing somebody waiting for someone to show up in a meeting and they don't show up. You see it at the, you're at the eye doctor and you hear the people get off the phone.
I make a date night with a buddy for movie night.
Sure.
Or we're going to go do an overnight photo shoot somewhere. Or we're going to go work out.
Yeah, and it falls apart.
And they're like late.
And it just leaves you feeling something.
Yeah.
Something.
I'm like
negative. Something yucky.
Wait a second here. What does this mean?
Yeah.
By this action, and I don't want to read into it.
Can I use the word disappointed?
Yeah, okay. Definitely.
I'm just going to put that on it.
I'm like, okay, it makes me wonder, okay, what does this mean when someone doesn't respect being on time? And being on time, to me, I don't know why it's ingrained to me.
Yeah.
And and it's not a big thing.
No,
for
well,
some
it can
people.
be. It can
for
be.
some people.
Yeah, I won't. I'm just going to give a tiny little bit on this, and and then we'll go back to what we're talking about.
Sure.
But because I've worked in managing humans for a long time, managing teams, right?
Yeah, right.
Sometimes people, for whatever reason, they just can't seem to get there on time for whatever it is. They just can't. There's something physiological, emotional going on there that needs whatever. They just can't do it.
Right.
And when you're working with a team, you got to protect the team. And if the team feels like they see their name on the schedule and they say, what do you want to bet they're not going to show up today? $10 says they're not coming today. Right now, the integrity of the team is degrading because of that.
Right.
But the worker does great work, but they're always at least 17 minutes late.
Oh my goodness.
Right, almost every day.
Oh boy.
Right,
and
you see it makes you feel that way.
I couldn't.
But they're so great. I love them so much, and the work they do is so good, and it's so. But I got to protect the team.
Yeah.
This is what the team needs, right? So you're not going to be here on the team anymore.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, when I try to think about the times that I've been the late person, what's going on with me when I'm the late person?
Right.
I'm a hot mess.
Oh my
If
goodness.
I'm late, I'm a hot mess.
Oh, so am I.
Everything is wrong.
Holy cow.
Right? I haven't been probably for like a few weeks. I haven't been eating well, sleeping well, telling the truth about whatever. Right? Telling the truth about how I feel, that I haven't been eating well, that I haven't been sleeping well, that I'm not drinking water.
Yeah.
Right? I don't even tell the truth to myself about that stuff.
Yeah.
So the reason I say that is because it helps me be more tolerant when other people behave the way I think they shouldn't behave.
Yeah.
Yep. That just helps me a little bit.
Yes. No.
It doesn't excuse bad behavior.
No.
It just helps me not behave badly when someone else is behaving the way I think they shouldn't behave.
Yeah.
It's
No.
usually Jason. It's usually Jason. I get really mad. But he's not me. He's not going to act like me. He's not me.
No.
Right?
No.
He's just not going to.
No. So I mean, I respect that you have that will to think that way.
No. It's not will. It's practice.
Practice.
Because
Okay.
I don't want to be angry. I get so angry.
Yeah.
And then I tell myself, don't be angry. But that's not useful either.
No, that is not.
Right?
No, that isn't.
But I don't want to be angry. But I
No.
get angry about it. Like, so I use an example of driving on the highway. Something I have to do every day. This is a question I ask people.
Yeah.
What's something that you have to do all the time that you dread? Or don't even tell me what it is, because maybe we shouldn't be talking about it. Right? But what is something that you how do you cope with facing a thing over and over again that you dread? So here is a topic, people being late or not doing, right?
Yeah.
How do you cope with that when you know you're going to have to face it? I'm going to get on the highway because I did not give myself enough time to drive not on the highway. And I know I'm going to show up angry because I'm going to. My neck is red. I can feel it. Like, I'm already mad about it.
It is, actually.
Right? I'm already mad about it.
Yeah, it's turning pink right now.
So how do you cope? How do you approach it? How do you cope with it?
Well, I mean,
If you know someone's going to be late when they come, or you're pretty sure.
oh, I'm pretty sure. So the thing is, unfortunately, I get used to it.
Yeah.
Wait,
let's spin that a little bit.
Almost normalize it in a way, but go
like
ahead.
adapting, right?
Yeah, adapting
you can't
to it.
control them.
No, I can't.
But we don't want to be angry all the time.
No.
So we can change.
Right. So I leave some wiggle room
Smart.
for the lateness.
So you don't let that limit your success.
No.
Good.
No, because
Smart.
it happened last night.
It's going to keep happening.
It happened last night.
All right.
And
we're going to circle back to
go ahead.
this.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Because I was sharing with you before we started recording. It's a little bit of a heavier thing. Maybe the next time we sit down, we can talk about it. But
Okay.
I want to dig in and explore this idea about being emotionally self-reliant from these types of disappointments, right? So whatever the thing is that we were hoping to get out of that exchange, like an apology or some acknowledgement, ownership, accountability, whatever it is,
yeah.
or just the experience of having fun with the thing that you thought you were going to get to do, or the person you thought you were going to get to see. We were going to work out together. Yes, I'm still going to work out, but it was going to be a lot more fun, and I'm really disappointed.
Yeah,
Why am I so disappointed? I'm really upset about this. What am I so upset about? Right? And so how can we become a little bit more emotionally self-reliant when we know that these things are coming, when they're predictable? But pin in that. We were talking about sacrifice.
Yes.
We got a decent definition about time and value. And I want to point out, you know what you value. You said family.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and take a guess that if you were going to make a list of 3 values, family's at number 1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How do you think other people have a strong grip on that too?
I think most people do. I think sometimes they don't know how to manage their day so that family becomes it. Because I get off the rocker, get off the wagon once in a while when it comes to prioritizing family.
Sure.
Even though it's just sometimes it's so easy. I'm a bit of a workaholic.
Yeah,
that I
too.
I can work into the night and I'm okay.
Yeah.
I can work over
because you're passionate about your work.
Yeah.
It feeds you.
Yeah. It feeds me in knowing that I'm going to provide something that my clients really they need. Not just want,
service.
but they need.
And it's a high quality service.
And then but then the other part of it is I know that I'm providing for my family.
Right.
So the sooner I can get something done, the sooner we can get paid.
Yeah.
To take care of the family.
Yeah.
So I have those two kind of compounding me or kind of veering me off the path of really showing my family that they are my top priority sometimes.
Sort of, maybe, yeah. Or that's part of the path. That's the path goes that direction.
Yeah.
Right?
So I tell myself that it's part of that, but
that doesn't feel fully true.
It doesn't feel fully true because I'm told by my teenager that she needs more time with me. And I'm like...
So there's evidence that is contrary to our thesis.
So now I'm like, okay, if she needs more time...
Okay. Shiminy Christmas!
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'm not going to ignore that.
Yeah.
Because
you value family.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of what I'm doing is for her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, if this is what she needs now... This needs to be my... So I think
I think what the way that I ask people is you can tell someone is good by.
I think I can identify a good person by characteristics that they show in me being able to trust them.
Give me more. What are those characteristics? How can you tell?
Being on time.
That's one. Good. Being on time.
No, I mean...
They do what they say they're going to do.
Being on time,
Sure.
yeah. Being on time is just one of those things that adds to, okay, are they going to keep their word?
Integrity, I want to
Yes,
say.
thank you, integrity.
I want to say.
They say they're going to do something and it's done. If they can't do it, they let me know so I can modify.
If they can't do it.
I don't mind people saying that they can't do things.
Sure.
Then it helps me shift my expectations.
Yeah. And I feel like if somebody says, yes, I can do that for you, then they come back and say, just kidding, it turns out I cannot do that for you. You sort of know you can trust them better.
Yeah,
right?
I can.
Rather than if they just try to figure it out or don't ask for help.
Because to me, that's being transparent too.
Yeah.
Because they're being transparent with me. They're being vulnerable.
And they have the confidence to be vulnerable.
Right.
Right? So part of our job is to create an environment where people have the opportunity to be confident, to be vulnerable. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone that has been a leader in different places, I'm honest about what I do and what I can and can't do. I am a people pleaser, which is really hard.
I've seen it. It's true.
To overpromise.
Yep.
But then when I get in the bind, I'm honest about, hey, I overpromised this.
And what happens? Do they yell at you? Do they throw things?
They don't.
That can be really hard for someone to go and say, hey, I can't do this thing that I said I could do.
Yeah, no, they don't usually come bashing me, but it makes me reflect in a way where I have to be more careful about what I can promise, which is hard because I want to do
everything.
I want to do so much.
Yeah. Especially for service. You love to do service.
And I want to give all I can give.
Yeah.
And I've shown in the past that I can give more.
Yeah.
So I have that expectation that I can do it every time.
Sure.
But sometimes things get in the way that I have no control of.
Yeah, sometimes life happens and there's nothing we can do about it. And you can't predict it.
No.
Sometimes life just happens.
But being honest, I think being honest with the fact that, hey, this is not going to be accomplished the way we originally expected. I think that is so important for me to explain that to anyone that I'm making any promises to, because then they realize that, hey, he's human.
Yeah.
He's not the Superman that some people think that I am sometimes.
Even though you wear
I do.
The outfit.
I do wear the outfit. Yeah. But no, that is for me, integrity is huge.
Sure.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Say what you're gonna do and do it. If you can't do it, tell me. I have compassion.
Yeah.
I can really, I have compassion for people that really want to do something but aren't able to do it.
Yeah. 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 It almost, we have tenderness for that, because we see it in ourselves. We feel that when somebody is vulnerable and extends that trust to you, like it's building that connection. Somebody, it's like a risk. To say, I can't do this. I thought I could. I'm afraid that I'm disappointing you. I'm afraid that you're going to think blah, blah, blah.
Well,
right?
it makes me want to work with them more sometimes because I'm like, wow, this person is honest with me. I want them to succeed no matter what.
Because you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you want to put more into it.
Yeah. So so to me, that is probably one of the top things on my list of someone that I think is good. Someone that can mean what they say and say what they mean.
Yeah. Be on time when you come here.
And if you can't, just
holler.
That's all I need.
Come on. And if it's because you're going through Dunkin', grab something for me too.
That's right.
I saw a meme or something like from a hairdresser that said, if you text me that you're running late and you show up with one coffee in your hand, turn around.
I love that. I'm going to have to use that. that.
Yeah, if you're stopping for a snack, get something for me.
Every time. Every time. But so to me that is a big part of it, but because I think a lot grows from understanding that,
Yeah.
showing that side of the person who has integrity, is that then you know that you can have open conversations because they were willing to be vulnerable. And if they're willing to be vulnerable for that thing, that piece, it's possible that they can be vulnerable in a lot of other parts of their lives.
Yeah. And I think, too, I know if someone's vulnerable with me, I know that I can go and ask them for help.
Right.
Or ask them a question and believe they're going to tell me the truth.
Right.
Right? Because we've had that connection.
Right.
Relationships are everything.
They are 100%. I mean, 100%. I can't express that much more. I've made so many connections in my life so far, and continue to make connections.
Don't you love it when somebody is like, oh my gosh, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, I know somebody that can help you with that.
Yeah.
That makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
I know somebody that can help you with that. Or I can help you with that.
Right. Solving problems.
Yeah.
Solving problems it's fun.
My love language.
It is mine too, actually. I
love it.
I do enjoy solving a problem, and some people don't understand.
I was going to say, when they get annoyed with us, we should spend time together, right? When the other ones are annoyed with us for always trying to solve every problem.
Yeah.
Like when you are like, hey, Jen, I've got an idea. Same at my house. Babe, I have an idea.
That's like,
Here we go.
Those are the worst phrases for
Here
me
we
to
go.
use.
Yeah, right.
in
It
my
starts
house.
a fight.
I have to admit, though, I don't know if it's age or what, but things are changing. Things are changing. She's not afraid of my ideas anymore.
I like it.
She's like, okay, what else can you come up
Right,
with? Because
right. How bad can it be?
you couldn't be as crazy as what you've come up with before. You can't be any crazier. So hey, I'm just gonna roll with it.
It worked out last time. I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah. So it has been improving, which is nice. But I do like solving problems. I think that's why I do what I do for work. People it has to be photographic or it has to be whatever.
Right.
And I'm here. I have to be an artist, an engineer, and all this stuff.
Oh my gosh, creative designing.
Yeah.
Choreography sometimes.
Yeah.
Lighting, audio, everything.
Yeah.
And you, not only that, but I'm going to be bold and say this, that you're like me. You're an educator.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you really, that's your lane, is you're an educator and you really shine there. And that's why you're such a giver and you give away your time and you promise and da-da-da. Because it's not just the product that you're presenting, but if it's at all possible to turn this person into someone who can do it for themselves, you do that along the way too, which is a really remarkable thing. Giving people self-reliance is a remarkable thing.
I mean, when people come in and rent a studio space, they're not just getting a studio space.
Right.
I'm educating them about photography.
Yeah.
And it's I do it. It's just naturally. I want to share the information that I have with me, if it's going to help them solve a problem.
100%. I'm excited about the new classes you're doing too. I've seen them on the Facebooks and stuff.
I've been trying to get the message across that it's not your regular everyday photography class.
Yeah.
I'm here to make sure you can apply what you're learning.
I'm going to make it make sense for you.
Yeah.
Right. It feels really accessible.
You can go out and actually get the job done. That's kind of where I'm going with this. It's like, hey, well, Soubanh, I have this job coming up. I want to be able to do this with my photography. Okay. Do this and this and this. I'm not going to go through the history of photography and the theories and the rule of thirds, completely.
They can Google that stuff.
Yeah, they can.
They can learn all that for free online.
And,
they want your experience.
The depth of focus, oh my goodness, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Those are theories. Those are good. But how can they use it to solve a problem today?
And they don't need you to access that stuff. They can access that stuff. You have something else to give.
Sometimes it's me translating that stuff to them in a tangible way that they can apply today.
You meet them where they are.
Yeah.
And then help them build on their skills.
Yeah, because all of the information that I have, they can get online. But the one thing that they're not going to get online is someone to speak and respond to them on the fly about something that they're having problems with. So, but I love solving problems. I mean, I love it. I mean, I don't like having problems, but I love solving problems.
Yeah. I mean, I'll even take small problems like the broken pen or something. You know what I mean? Like just a little bit of completion, a little done. This is what I like about nursing, like home health nursing.
Okay.
You drive to one house, you make them very happy.
Yeah.
You pack up and drive to another house, you make them very happy.
Yeah.
Drive off to another house, you make them very happy. It's really fun.
Well,
I'm everyone's favorite person all day long.
I think photographically, when I started photography, it was the same thing because I'm boosting people's confidence with great images, right?
Heaven.
And I'm like, it's such a if they want to feel good about themselves, they come and do a photo shoot with me, and that's what I did, and I still do that, and
now you do it differently in the community though. You have a bigger arch, you have a bigger reach, and you really strengthen relationships in the community through businesses and individuals.
Yeah,
and service work.
I do. I mean. When I go to shoot like a Chamber of Commerce event and things like that, it's just, that's the one thing they say, you make me look good. You make me feel good about myself. Right. I said, well, great, because that's kind of what I've been trained to do in my photographic
I want to tell you,
career.
As a civilian, as someone who attends those kinds of events, and because I grew up in this area, I have come to expect to see you and certain other faces at those kinds of events. And I know that I'm going to look good because I know the guy who shoots the event. Well, I am more likely to go because I know that I'm not going to end up on the front page of the newspaper or on some Bangor Daily News, thing on Facebook and have a terrible picture because it was Soubanh shooting the event.
I usually throw the bad ones away. That's why no one sees it.
Yeah, that's integrity.
Because I'm like, I'm not gonna.
No, you're so good.
I'm not gonna show that. I mean,
you're so good.
Every pro photographer will tell you that. They take really bad pictures. They just don't show it. Yeah. It's okay.
Everybody takes bad pictures.
It's okay to not show those bad pictures. You don't have to show every picture that you have. And I'm glad that you said what you said because it gives me a little more pride in knowing that it's encouraging people to attend those events because some of these events are fundraisers that the community greatly needs for certain things.
A lot of people don't go to public events because they're terrified to go out in public for whatever reason. How I'm going to look, what are people going to think of me, or I'll stand out for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Like there's all these reasons, and just knowing that there is a friendly photographer at the event and having seen your work because you make the Facebook reels and you do your posts and you do your content creating, you reach out and connect to people in the community, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, and when I get feedback from people of some things that I've done that wasn't perfect, guess what? You know what? I'm like that. I'm sharper with my eyes at what happens. And it's usually not something that the camera is the main focus, but someone in the background. That's eating or wiping their nose or something like that in the way background.
That's funny.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't know. I didn't. Yeah, I'm gonna look for that next time before I process anything. So
it's fun. I love seeing your posts of the parades and stuff like that, and then I find people that I know and I'll send them the picture.
Oh, great.
And
they're
so happy. I had a friend, Logan, on a horse at one point in the last couple of years, and you got this great shot of her on the horse, and I sent it to her, and she was so happy.
I love when that happens because I don't know who these people are.
I know, yeah.
I'm just there to serve the public. For me, it's how I give back to the community, and it's just fun to do that. And then to have someone like you to share those pictures to the right people. Treasure. Yeah. Fun. Because I'm like, I don't know who this is going to go to. This is a free service I'm providing for the community. I don't expect anyone to pay for it, type of thing.
I love it.
And but then when it gets to the right hands, I'm just like, okay, good. I done my job. And this person really did did like the finishing job. Yeah. Of what I wanted or intended to do when I photograph. But I love solving problems. Yeah. I love making people happy. That's just...
I know you do.
It's just
and you
who I am.
Make amazing egg rolls. I'm just going to throw that in there. The other question I was going to ask you already answered.
Okay.
Which is, what do you wish people would just figure out already?
Yeah. No, just...
Like, so we don't talk about being on time. Is there another thing? Like, what do you wish people would just figure out already?
That I mean what I say.
Oh, that I immediately got mad about that.
I'm like if I said that I'm gonna be somewhere,
I'm gonna be there.
And I said that it's on my calendar, I'm gonna be there.
My word. Or like if I say to you, no, it's okay, and you keep apologizing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I need you to believe me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you to please believe me that
Mm-hmm.
I have peace in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I promise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think sometimes I follow up with, because I've done that too.
Yeah.
With people.
Sure.
Saying, hey, it's okay. I understand. I've had this problem before,
Yeah.
or I ran into the same situation
Right.
before. Sometimes when I explain it to them, they kind of get a better feeling, like I know where they're coming from.
Yep.
And that I truly understand. But it's
so
still
hard.
difficult for people sometimes when they've done something that they don't normally do.
Yeah.
And they're like so sorry for it. And
Or I think sometimes they need comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, so if you stomp on my foot.
Yeah.
And my foot hurts.
Okay.
And I'm crying.
Mm-hmm.
But you feel really bad.
Oh, yeah.
That you caused the pain.
Right.
So you need comfort
Mm-hmm.
to feel better about having stomped on my foot.
Yeah.
But my foot hurts, so I don't have the energy to comfort you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes I think that's a piece of the exchange. And
It is.
that's normal human behavior.
It is.
That's okay. But if we're aware of it and we talk about it, it helps us to resolve it and get through that quicker.
And sometimes all it takes is a little time.
Yeah.
Just a little time.
That annoys me so much.
Mm-hmm.
They say this in AA,
Mm-hmm.
which annoys me because it's true. It annoys me so much.
Mm-hmm.
There is no substitute for time.
No.
It has to pass.
Nope.
Time just has to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to be like, don't be angry. Don't. Right? Just fast forward.
Mm-hmm.
I intellectually know what I should be doing. Can I just fast forward through the process?
Just like trying to teach a teenager that they need experience.
See, that's
to
the
reach.
thing.
Once you have experience in this field, things will come together.
Yeah, it'll be different.
And they're like, experience? Why do I have to wait? Why do I have to kill time to gain experience?
Yeah.
To get to where
It's
you
annoying.
are.
It's annoying.
It's so annoying. I just want to be there today.
But it turns out the process is
Right.
actually
Mm-hmm.
the point, right? The
is.
process is the value,
Right. Yeah.
not so much the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
The process.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. The saying, when you're traveling, enjoy the journey, not the destination. Not
I
always the
think that was
destination.
our senior quote.
Was it?
Class of '95.
Oh my goodness.
It's 2025 this year. Ooh. That means you have already passed it, and this year I am on this is the 30th year since I graduated high school.
Oh man.
It's the 30th year.
Yeah. No, I felt that last year.
I'm fine.
I totally felt that last year.
47 now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey.
It's a big number, and you're older than me. I'm not even going to say how old you
I
are.
just turned 50.
I know you did. It's like a legitimate grown-up age.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the age where you're thinking.
Listen, you're a Laotian. You have barely any wrinkles at all.
Yeah. Well, it's so. I think sometimes it's a disadvantage because I don't go to the gym either. So
I know, and you're so muscly.
And people look at me and it's like, hey,
do you even lift, bro?
How much you bench?
Do you even lift, bro?
I'm like, what kind of bench?
What
are you talking about?
What do you mean by bench? Well, what I hope you want to sit and chat with me again.
I do, definitely.
Good. And I want to talk about self-reliance, emotional self-reliance when we sit down again.
Yeah.
Right?
No, yeah. That is a great topic to discuss, and I think a lot of people can benefit from learning how to cope when things happen.
I mean, how I cope and how you cope, I'm sure looks different. But the more we talk about it to each other, the more that we we sort of understand that, like, I'm not alone in this. Other people struggle with this too.
Right.
Or you hear ideas and you're like, well, that doesn't really fit me, but I could do it this way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. You modify it to meet your needs and your personality, because everyone's a little different. I mean, come on. How can you have people grow up in the same household and do totally different
completely
things?
different.
Yeah, they're like
so
completely
different.
So I always go back to that when people are saying, "Oh, why can't people get along in this way or whatever?" I'm like, we share the same blood. We grew up the same place, and we're now in totally different places.
Yeah. Couldn't be any more different.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
So,
well, thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for interviewing or having conversation with me. Really, is what we're doing, and I hope that things will continue in the right path for you. And I'd like to be around for you to to shine
Thanks.
when you start your glow.
Well, we've worked together off and on for years and years.
Yeah.
And I feel like we'll have some more opportunities to do that together coming really soon.
Yeah, you have so much going on with you and so many future
Yeah.
goals.
I get excited.
I can't wait to see them become reality.
Thanks.
So
Thanks.
looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I love you so much.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
See ya.